Hello, my name is Matthew Hunter with Legacy Wilderness Academy, and I'm on a mission to document every edible and medicinal plant in the southeastern U.S. so Southerners can have greater access to nutritious food and free medicine. In this video, we're going to be talking about one of my all-time favorite plants out of the hundreds of plants that I've used over the years. This one remains in my top 10 favorite. It is one of the tastiest plants you're ever going to find. It's really easy for beginners to identify and begin to use. It's called the sumac, and it makes a delicious lemonade type drink that's even better than real lemonade. And so it's not the poison sumac, but today we're going to look at how to identify sumac. I'll show you how you can use the plant, and we'll take it back to the kitchen and actually make lemonade or sumac ade out of it. Before we get started, I'll quickly mention that if you want to learn more about medicinal plants of the Southeast, make sure to download yourself a copy of my free guide to medicinal plants, which you can find in the link in the description below this video. Sumacs are a group of large shrubs that are common and widespread throughout the eastern U.S. There are a few different species of sumac that are identified similarly and used similarly. And today we're going to be looking at the winged sumac, or Rhus copallinum. So you can see here what the clusters of red fruit look like. And on this particular species, they ripen around late August and throughout September. And we also have another species in my area that is more of an early fruiting species. So it's really the summertime that you're going to be finding sumac. And you can see these distinct clusters of red berries will stand out from a distance if you're looking for them. So let's take a closer look at what they look like, and then we'll look at some of the leaves. Okay, so here is a close-up of a cluster of sumac berries. And you never have to worry about mistaking this for poison sumac, at least when it's fruiting, because poison sumac has clusters of whitish berries. So they're never gonna be reddish like this. And the part that we're after is actually a glaze on the outside of the plant, okay? And so it's sort of like the glaze off of a glazed donut. So if you rub your fingers along these berries and then lick your fingers, it's extremely sour and it's so delicious. And it's, really, really packs a punch. And so what we're going to be doing is just soaking these berries in water. We don't even have to boil them or juice them or anything like that. And then this glaze is going to be coming off. And so the main thing with this is you just want to harvest this in time, because the more times it rains after they ripen, it's going to start to wash it all off. And there is a flavor difference between the ripe fruit and the unripe fruit. And that's something that you're just gonna have to train your eyes to be able to tell the difference. You can tell these are really ripe. They're super deep red, and they'll still be sour when they're unripe, but they won't have developed that sumac-y flavor yet, which we're really after. So you'll definitely be missing some of the good, rich flavor if you harvest them too early, but you can still make a drink out of them. So we're gonna clip a bunch of these off and then take them home, and I'll show you how to make some delicious sumac ade. Yes. And wait just a second, I got so excited I almost forgot to show you the leaves. So here we have the pinnately compound leaves of the winged sumac. And what a compound leaf means is that the leaf itself comes out here, and then this whole structure with all of the leaflets is one leaf. So we have one leaf here with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17 leaflets. And I'll show you a close-up of the rachis here, or the central axis that all of the leaflets are coming off of. And with the winged sumac, it has this little flare, and this little flare is known as a wing. That's why it's called the winged sumac. And so the other sumacs, I don't think have this. So this is a unique feature among the sumacs. The leaflets of this particular species are toothless, which means that they don't have any serrations on the edges. And I wonder if I have seen them occasionally with teeth on the edges, or it may have been a hybrid between two species, because some of the other species of sumac do have teeth. And so this is the winged sumac. I think it's also called the shining sumac, and you can see maybe how it got that name because the leaves are kind of shiny. And so that's how to identify that. You can also look at the base of the leaves here and notice that they do have a reddish color. So there is sort of a reddish coloration. This is common in this sort of family. And this is a relative of poison ivy and poison sumac, but it is a non-toxic species. It's actually in the same family as cashews and mangoes. And I have heard people suggest that if you're allergic to mangoes, you may want to be careful using this shrub, but I haven't really met anyone that has been a problem for. And then when you are looking at the base of these leaves, you'll notice that when you break them, on the other species, there will also be a white sap occasionally. So that's with the other species. This one has clear sap, not a feature for this particular species, but with others, you may be able to also confirm your identification by its white sap. If it was a little earlier in the year, say around the month of June, we would see the cream-colored flower clusters of the winged sumac, which you can see here. All right, now all we'll do is go ahead and cut these off, tear the leaves off. Looks like we missed a little bit there. And we'll just go ahead and grab a bunch of these clusters. Just like that. Alrighty, so to make Sumac Ade, it's really simple. All you're going to do is you're going to be taking your sumac clusters, tear off all the leaves, of course. Not that the leaves are going to hurt anything. And then we will just start taking these clusters off and dropping them right in. And there's going to be a lot of bugs on these clusters, but you know, don't worry too much about it because we're going to strain it all out later. Some types of sumac will have these like little web spinning creatures, and so there'll be like these little white webs, and you know, at first I would try to avoid all of them, but then I stopped caring because it all gets strained out. There's a lot of spiders in them too, a lot of times, various types of bugs. I mean, I kind of wonder if you could do like a study on the insect life of a sumac and find some interesting stuff out or something, I don't know. But yeah, lots of different bugs. Now we could actually, if we wanted to, kind of strip the seeds off a little bit better, really just to increase the amount of berries that will fit into one bowl. So you can do that as well. We might do that for some of them because the more berries you can fit in there and submerge into the water, obviously the more sour it's going to be, and I'm all about sour. So I'll go ahead and show you what we're going to do next. All we're going to do is really pour water in. So there you go. All right, now that we're all full up, I'm going to go ahead and pour water into here. And the important thing with this is that you don't want to use hot water or warm water because it's going to leach out a bitter flavor from these stems. So we're just going to use room temperature water here. And I've made this where it's going to be really strong. I like mine nice and potent, so it's going to be super, super sour. Okay, and you will see different recommendations on how long to let this sit. I don't actually let mine sit for very long at all, so maybe about 15 to 20 minutes. But what I am going to do is go ahead and agitate all of these with a spoon or whatever you have to be able to encourage the glaze to come off into the water. And I'll be stirring these up. Then, like I said, I'll only let mine sit about 15-20 minutes. And now we're not going to be talking about medicinal uses, but if you were going to use this medicinally, then often you would boil these, and then in that case you wouldn't really care if they turned bitter. But because we don't want this to turn bitter, we also don't want to let this soak overnight, for example. So you wouldn't want to just like set this on your counter in your fridge or whatever and forget it. Because if you do let it sit too long, it's going to have that bitter sort of, or almost sort of grassy flavor, and we definitely don't want that. So yeah, so 15 to 20 minutes, and then we will come right back. All right, now that we've been letting this sit a while, we'll go ahead and strain it. So I'm just going to place this phony here. My pitcher broke, so we'll have to use this glass jug, and I'm going to be using a nut milk bag to strain it, which I use for all of my foraging projects. This is basically a reusable cheesecloth. So I'll go ahead and put this in here. And I'll do the best I can not to spill this everywhere, but here we go. So you can see it actually has like a pinkish color to it, so it's almost like a pink lemonade. And some types of sumac, I think, get even pinker than this. They'll be almost like a red color, so it's really beautiful. If you don't see too much of a pinkish sort of color, then you may have picked berries that were slightly unripe, which is okay, but they're just not going to have that really rich flavor. So now all we're going to do is add sugar. just like we would with regular lemonade. So whatever, however much you want to add, or honey, or whatever you use, and then we'll be done. All right, Georgia, are you ready for some Sumac Ade?
Yeah.
There you go. What do you think?
It tastes yummy.
Good. What's it taste like?
Yummy.
Is it better than lemonade? Mm-hmm. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed learning about one of my very favorite plants, the sumac, and how to make sumac Ade. Keep in mind, this plant does also have a host of important medicinal uses. So it's one of the plants that's really good for coughs. It's also a plant that's an astringent for the skin, and it is a plant that is used actually for anemia to help the body start producing more red blood cells. But it really deserves a separate attention in a different video, so I am planning on making another video about this plant's medicinal uses in the future. But until then, make sure to get my free guide to medicinal plants, which you can find in the link in the description below. Again, my name is Matthew Hunter. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Have a great day.